medium. Good. We're good. We're good.
We're good on Facebook
We're live.
and YouTube. We are live
All right,
on
cool.
Instagram.
This post is going to do here. Everything's all clear. The truth about double booking. All right. All right, cool. All right, guys. Yesterday I posted a video on foils taking 3 hours and how it really shouldn't happen. But listen, if you're brand new doing hair and you're just starting out, 2 hours maybe, like a full highlight for 3 hours, unless you're doing a full-blown platinum card, like every single piece of hair in a foil, it should not take you that long. And I think what happens is you don't know where you're placing the foils. You're unsure of like what exactly you're doing. And that's why it's taking you so long, because you're second guessing yourself. Now, you're going to pick up speed. So if you're beginning and you're just starting out, obviously it's going to take you a while. If you're doing hair for longer than 3 to 5 years, if you're like in the 5-year territory, it should not be taking you that long. In fact, you should be able to control your schedule to a point where you can take multiple people. The whole thing about double booking is just a farce, to be honest with you. There's a reason why booking software has a processing time and it gives you a gap. That gap is meant for you to put another client in so you can maximize the amount of people you see every day. And then people are like, oh, you're being greedy or you're taking too many people. What are you doing this for? Honestly, what are you doing this for? Do you want to make people feel beautiful? So what's better, making 10 people feel beautiful in one day or making one person feel beautiful in one day? If you master your time and you fully learn how to maximize your calendar and you know your processing times and you know your application times, there's no reason why you can't take a person in between a full highlight and haircut. It's ridiculous. You can do it. Now, if you don't have an assistant, that's where it gets a little tricky. But I've done it before without an assistant. It's not hard to do. You just have to like work a little harder and bust your ass a little bit. And don't get stressed. It's not brain surgery. It's not open heart surgery. You could sit someone at a chair with a mask in their hair and they're completely fine. That's why I really preach getting an assistant. And that's why these little suites that you're stuck in like a little box, you don't have room for 2 people. It's difficult to grow and scale your business alone. If you have a specific type of salon business you want for yourself, and that just includes you in a room with somebody else, that's fine. That model's not broken. It's your model. That's what you want to do. But if you want to make money and you want to maximize the amount of income that you produce for yourself and see the most amount of people, it would be important that you learn how to lead and you learn how to get an assistant and you learn how to book in a fashion that allows you to effortlessly see multiple people. Now, I think that's one of the biggest complaints right now is the fact that, a lot of owners are dealing with these younger stylists out here who change the way the industry's being ran right now. And listen, there's pros and cons to both. But if you're changing the way it's supposed to be done, like as opposed to the booking software, because you're not fast enough, then get faster. Like, don't change the way the business operates. There's nothing wrong with the way the business operates. There is a win-win by implementing both strategies. A luxury service is great. I like that. I like paying attention to a client. But when a client's sitting there for an hour to process, what else would you be doing? You could be doing another client. You could be fitting somebody in. And the important thing is you learn how to fully manipulate your schedule and your time. So when the time comes and somebody runs late or somebody has an emergency and they got to get squeezed in, you have the skills required to do that. And you know where you could stuff people in, where you got to move people around. It's just all part of managing your time and managing your calendar. So if you think double booking is something that you can't do, you can do it. 100% you can do it. If you have questions, ask me in the comments right now. James will read them off. But
we got a couple.
Yeah, but you 100%. Let me fix this. Look, you could 100% do 4, 5, 6, 7 people, 8 people in a day. And I'm telling you right now, it's not that hard. It really isn't. So, James, let's jump into the Q&A. We got
Blonde
about
with Bronze,
10
great
minutes.
topic. She has like application question mark. I'm guessing on the time frame.
Yeah. Like people are taking, like I've seen it with new stylists. They're taking 2.5 hours for one full highlight. And to be honest with you, that's not a luxury service. The client's sitting in the chair for 3 hours waiting for you to apply what could be done in 45 minutes with a more senior stylist. Just get faster, get better, learn where and why you're placing foils. The conversation of I charge by the hour, then time is money. What if your client's a high power attorney and she's super successful and she charges $900 an hour for her legal advice? She's sitting in your chair for 4 hours. It's ridiculous. $4,500 wasting her time. Think about your client. You're improving your speed and you're improving your skill for your clients too. That's part of the experience. It's not fun sitting in the chair for 4 hours. I'm telling you it's not. I don't care what anyone says. James.
Erica Cruz Hair, I think that's her name. Ruiz, I'm sorry, Erica Ruiz. Is that application time or full service? Sorry.
Application time, guys. Application time.
Okay.
Yeah, it's going to be 3 hours from start to finish, typically. Hour to apply, hour to process, back in your chair again, hour for a haircut. It's typically going to be a 3-hour visit. This is why it's very imperative that you learn how to apply faster, because that hour processing time, you're done. If it takes you 2 hours, that last foil is probably going to need like an hour to process. So now they're at 3. Before the rest of the hair processes, before you wash it out, before you do the toner, before you do the root melt, before you blow her out, before you got to recorrect the toner because you second guessed yourself because you didn't pay attention to color theory. And next thing you know, you're 5.5 hours behind. That's why you can't do multiple people. It's not because you want to create an experience. It's because you just don't have the skills, and that's okay. But get them and learn them. You can learn a lot from the stylists who are doing this. And if it doesn't work for you, figure out what does work for you and make it your own. James.
We have another question. What happens when an assistant calls out and you don't have a backup?
Ooh, yeah. That's when you take a look at your book and move some things around. But I get it. It sucks. Those are the days that you might need a drink after work. But you tell your clients, hey, I don't have my assistant today, so I'm going to be, running back and forth. Is that cool? As long as it's not the norm. But that's also why it's important to have a team. So if assistant calls out, then you have some other stylists on your team that fill in the gaps for you. And if you have a team, not just in your salon, if you rent a suite and you're friends with everybody in the suite area, hey, hit them up. Like, hey, Jen, are you busy today? No, I got a 1 o'clock that I'm double booked. Can you do a blowout for me if I send her down the hall to your suite? Why not do that? Why not use teamwork within the suites together? Stop being so competitive. Like, obviously, there's a layer of competition in here. You're building a business, but have a growth mindset, not a scarcity mindset, and then team up with the people in the suites. And that way, you could have the girl next door do the blowout for you, and she comes back and you did a haircut. That's what I would do. Next question. Fuck, that was a good answer too.
What's his name?
It's okay. Just drop the question.
He said, I do drop fades in 40 minutes. So that's men's haircuts.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, and this is like when you guys hear me say I'll book more than most of the people like doing hair. I don't do hair anymore. I stopped doing hair. I mean, I did hair yesterday. I'd help someone with a corrective color. I will probably, if I wanted to, and I mean this as humble as I could, outwork any hairstylist in our industry. And I mean that as humble as I can say something as aggressive.
I can verify.
I can do skin fades. I can do men's haircuts. I can do pixies. I can do women's haircuts. I can do graduated bobs. I can do updos. I can wax eyebrows. I can do long haircuts. I can do foils. I can do balayage. I just did everything. That's why I was able to maximize everything that I could do behind the chair, because in between my 2 clients, I would stuff in a men's haircut. Then I would apply single. Then I would apply singles, have my assistant, or apply foils, have my assistant apply the color in between the foils. And it was like, I just knew how to do every aspect of this career because when I first started, I needed to make money and I wouldn't tell a client no, because to me, that was me not making money. And obviously making money is part of it, but that was me saying, no, I can't help you. Why did I go to cosmetology school to learn everything? I believe the riches are in the niches to a certain extent, but cosmetology is a niche itself. So I'm not doing nails and eyebrows and waxing and like and everything that you learn in cosmetology school. Like I niched down to just hair. When I had to wax eyebrows, I would, because that's what I needed to do, because I needed, why not make the extra $20? And so you guys learn everything. Why not do men's haircuts? It just boggles my mind. And why not do short women's haircuts? If you're charging over $50 for a woman's haircut and you can't cut short haircuts on women, you shouldn't be doing haircuts at all. You should just stick to color. Sorry, but that's the truth. If you take out your scissors and you cut hair, you shouldn't be restricted on the length of hair that you only do. Just get better skills and learn how to cut hair to be a complete stylist, or don't cut hair at all.
Also, if you're a slower stylist, just sitting and you see someone running around with their head cut off, please offer a helping hand.
All right. Yeah, that's a great piece of advice. Owners out there, all salon owners, it's your job, in addition to obviously paying the bills, keeping the lights on, doing all that stuff. If you're in a commission salon, it's your job to fill the books of your team. So the system I like to do is I will pull every stylist in my salon in my book to help me out. I pull them in my world. Hey, Bree, help me apply color. Hey, Jess, help me apply color. Hey, Deneen, please blow up my client. Hey, Patricia, help me with this. And then at the end of the year of doing that, my clients will trickle into their book. So it's your job to build them up so you can get away from the chair to focus on the business, if that's something you choose to do. Like if you're getting burnt out from doing so many people, like you're 20, 30 years in the business, it's time you work 2 or 3 days a week behind the chair and then focus on building the team. So you should be pulling people into your world to offload some of those clients to them. Like I really could run 5 people in an hour and run it pretty smooth. It's not that hard. And that's because I had assistants helping me and other stylists helping me. And it's funny because I talk to owners, they're so busy and their stylists are sitting around doing nothing. Well, get them to help you out. I don't care if they're a level 1 stylist or a level 2 stylist. Have them help you apply the color. Now, I'm saying give them the client and let them apply color blindly without you. I'm saying split the head in half and have the person help you apply color at the same time. And this way you could connect the dots in the relationship. So it could be like, hey, Jen, help me apply color on Barbara today. You're doing Barbara's hair. And it's like, hey, Barb, you still ride horses, right? Jen has, she's been riding horses since she was 3 years old. Oh, no shit. And now guess what? They're talking about riding horses. And now Barbara goes to Jen for her single processes. And now you build her book up. All right, cool. Mike's back where it should be. James, any more questions?
I spent over a decade booking by the 30-minute mark, power booking.
Okay.
And that's it. We got a lot of people here, but no one's asking.
Yeah. So here's the deal with power booking. All right. One of my girls on my team, she just dropped her haircuts to 45 minutes to improve her time. When in reality, I like to keep the haircuts at a full hour. And the reason being is because it allows you that buffer. So I would double book, but I kept my haircuts an hour because a lot of times I'd be done in a half hour, 45 minutes with them, especially if it's like a little trim. My full highlights, I would keep them an hour, but a lot of times it would take me 45. And so I would have these built-in buffers. And that way someone couldn't come in my book while I was still like working on another client. It was done that way for a reason. And so I don't pressure myself to stuff people in. I put them in a way that worked. Now, when it comes to squeezing a client in, if somebody called because they're running behind, or they called because they have to move their appointment, something happened with the kids, they would be like, hey, Nick, I can't make 10 o'clock. What can you do? I'll look at my book. Oh, I have a haircut at 12. Can you come at 12:45? And so I could do a single process in 15 minutes. I could probably do it in 5 with help. I look in the column next to me. Oh, look, Ann has nobody. Great. I'm going to put you in Ann's book at 12:45. So this way, Ann can help me apply your color because my 1 o'clock is going to come in at 1, hopefully. And so it doesn't matter because I'm already accommodating you. You can't come in at 10. So you come in at 12:45. I'm getting you in there. You're happy. I'm happy. Ann's happy. Everyone's happy. But instead, people look at the book and they get stressed out like, oh, I can't take you today. Now the client's pissed and now she has to come another day or maybe not come at all. So a lot of times I'll be like, when can you come? 1-ish? Cool. We'll figure it out. We'll make it work. And that's what I say. Again, that works specifically because I have a team, right? If you're solo in a suite, it's obviously a little more hard. I get that. But that's why you should have an assistant. And you shouldn't move to a suite until you're at a position where you could have an assistant on your team helping you out to do things like this. And that way you don't run into issues where you can't pay the rent every week and you have a full clientele and then you got referrals coming in and you have Google ads bringing you more clients and your Instagram's bringing you more clients and you're going like you go from 3 to 5,000 while you're in the suite rather than go from 3,000 to 1,500 a week. James.
Yeah, we got, is repetition more important for building speed or placement and planning?
Okay. That's actually a really good question. Repetition for me is a combination of everything. It's knowing how to place foils in a manner that suits that client perfectly. Now, my clients are typically my clients. Brand new clients, you have to really understand their hair, how they pull their hair back. You need to know a little more about their lifestyle and what's important to them and how they want to wear their hair. So the reps, what that does is it helps you have these conversations with multiple people. And so based on personality types of that specific person, if I have a new client in my chair, let's call her Barbara again. And she reminds me a lot of Nancy, same hair type, same attitude. They almost have like the same type of career. Pretty much like what I do on Nancy could probably work on Barbara. So I just know how my speed's going to be with her. And I ask certain questions based on what I came to the conclusion of doing Nancy's hair all these years. So I'm like, oh, what if we try this, this, and this in my 5-minute consultation? And it works, right? So putting the reps in helps you in so many areas, helps you with speed, obviously moving your hands, helps you with decision making. So as I'm doing someone's foil, I'm thinking about what I can tone them with. I'm thinking about the issues they have right now. I'm thinking about obviously who can help me pull color in between the foils if I need that. And then what I'm doing is I'm aware of my book. And so I know that I'm going to run behind because now this girl has so much hair. I'm like, holy shit, I should have booked an hour and a half for a full highlights. I get it. Some people have a ton of hair. So what I'm saying to her is I'm like, hey, Jennifer, I'm like, your hair feels a little dry. She's like, I know it does. I'm like, would you have time today? Are you cool with it? I really want to do a mask on you after the service just to add back in the moisture in your hair so it holds the color a little better. Would you mind if we did that? Yeah, I don't mind. Cool. I might have to you're going to sit for like 20 minutes with it on under a dryer or whatever. I may have one of the girls help me dry you just so we can really use this mask. Your hair is really going to need it. I just bought myself a half hour. She just got a service that she needed. And then my other girl just got a blowout in her book. So it's important that putting the reps in helps you really understand where you can move people around, almost like a chessboard. And that's what I do with my clients and with my staff members. But the reps are really, really important. So you can maximize the amount of money you're making. And I know I keep bringing up money, but at a certain point, like we're in this to pay the bills. Like we love doing hair, but I promise you, making $5,000 a week is way more fun than making $1,500 a week. And the point of that is when you have a full book and 2 people cancel, it doesn't really affect you. When you only do 2 clients a day and there's traffic and 2 people cancel or they get moved or something happens and you don't know how to delegate your time properly, it's a pretty shitty day. So master your calendar. James.
Yeah, we got, how can a salon owner hire an assistant for the salon if the salon owner doesn't have the budget yet? Are there any other options on how to pay the assistant?
You DM me and get in my program and I'll help you out. No, I'm kidding. Here's what you do. Your assistant should have a skill set, okay, of blowing out hair. Like they should be proficient in a particular service, whether that be blowing out hair or whether that be something else. Now, you bring someone on your team to replace a task that you're doing that you can now do something at a higher ticket or that's worth more value to make up for the fact you're not doing that low ticket item anymore. So if it's a blowout, I will hire an assistant. So now she does my blowouts for me, and then she might charge $30 opposed to my 50. That's okay. If you're paying her $100 a day, she does 3 blowouts for you a day, it's $90 if she's charging 30. Let's make it 35, so it's 105. And then that way, she pays for herself. That's what you do. You want to make sure your assistant is able to take on one particular service that's very easy, like a blowout. And this way, her job is to take on some blowouts for the other stylist in the salon. And essentially, she's free. She's a break even. And that way, you're getting the towels done, the hair is coming down, and people now are able to double book. But if you have a problem growing your salon, DM me the word grow, and we'll talk about a strategy and see if that is a good fit for you at the program I offer.
Mira Sharku, how to break the ice to make your first video and speak publicly as a newbie.
What's your name?
Mira Sharku.
First, no one's going to be watching it because you're new. And all right, guys, so this is my first Instagram video, and I'm doing it right now. And just talk. Just all you got to do is talk. Actually, don't do this. Don't be like, I just wanted to hop on here and say this one thing. Just hop on here. So think of a frustration that you have. And that's all I'm doing right now. I'm just filming a story. I'm talking and I'm watching myself. So that's my story. I go to done. I go to the upper 3 dots. I hit save. The reason why I do it as story first on Instagram is I can see the timer and I won't run out of time. So I know when a minute's up. The story gives you 60 seconds to film and talk. And so as I'm speaking, I'm like, oh, I got to wrap this up. I'm coming to the end of that minute. That's perfect. And you don't ramble. You're kind of seeing yourself. You're making a weird face, whatever. Speak about something that your clients have a frustration with. That's all people want to have an answer to. If you solve the frustrations of your clients by speaking to them, they're going to be engaged with it. Don't just say, hey, I wanted to hop on here and talk about, don't be weird and awkward. You're going to be weird and awkward, I promise you. Just be you. What I would do is I would film every single day, speaking to your camera, talking about the frustrations your clients have and how you have a solution to that problem they have. And then start there. If you film it, save it to your phone. If you don't like it, delete it. But just practice every single day. The thing is, you're not going to get good if you don't start doing it. So you just have to start doing it. That's it. Do it every day. And here's the beautiful thing. Nobody who's successful is going to say anything to you about it. I will see somebody putting themselves out there and never, ever criticize them because, A, I'm too busy doing my own content. The only people who will criticize you or talk shit or make fun of you are people who aren't even worth entertaining, and they're people who don't have the courage to do it themselves. Because if they did, they would realize how hard it is, and they would shut the fuck up and not say anything to you because I understand where they started from. Because I know what it was like. Like I still critique myself. I still like have a hard time talking in front of people. I get it. But the problem is, well, the solution is do it every day. So that's why I do these lives every day. That's why I have coaching calls. I'm speaking in front of people. And that's why in my program, a lot of times with the group coaching, I want them to speak in front of people on Zoom. Because when you become an owner, you have to talk in front of your team. That could be nerve-wracking for some people. Public speaking is really scary. So just put the reps in, just do it, and who gives a shit? Because on the other side of you creating the content and being that person who speaks and speaks with authority, you convince clients that you don't do yet that they can trust you. And guess what that does? It builds your book. So 100%, just do it. But make sure you have something to speak about. So think of a frustration or a problem your clients have, come up with a solution that your service solves or that you can solve, and then deliver it. And make it short and sweet and to the point, and don't ramble. Just get to the point. Nobody needs a backstory. Just get to the point. Next question.
Honey
Yep.
blonde hair. What do you recommend for speeding up your applications, whether foiling or root touch-ups? Mannequin, and then blonde and blonde responds placement, and honey blonde hair responded, that is my main struggle is placement. I overthink.
Yeah. Why? Why am I going to put a foil here? What are you overthinking about? Like, what is the thing making you overthink? If I put it here, it's going to look stupid. Like, so you have to know the schematics of the head. So first, that comes with the consultation, and that comes with, hey, what look are we going for today? I want brighter in the front, and I want a little more lived in. How do you style your hair? Where do you part it? You part it here. All right, so I'm going to go off of your part. I'll probably go back 3 or 4 foils here. Then I'll stop. Then I'll come to the side here and come down. Actually, here's the whole model that I use. I'll start in the back, 3 or 4 foils. I might bricklayer a couple. I might throw 2 or 3 under the ear. Then I throw 1 or 2 coming off the top, so it's brighter in the front. I go off the ear, 3 come back, and then I come down 3 or 4. That's like my mid, full slash. That's like my over. Like I can put blonde everywhere. They pull it up, they see blonde. They wear their hair down, they see blonde. They have that brightness in the front. That's how I do it. I know that when I lay foils coming up this way and she pulls her hair back, she's going to see stripes. That's why I come here. I lay a couple on an angle. Same thing with coming back this way. If she parts her hair here and I lay my foils there, I split it in half. Guess what? I got lines or I got chunks. I don't want that. That's why I turn them sideways. So the hair blends. It's highlighted. You have to know on the curvature of the head, which way is that hair going to lay down? And what's that look like with the flat part of a foil or if you paint it? That's all it is. So you have to understand if I put a foil, if this, then that. If I put one here, what's going to happen when her hair splits into parts? Oh, cool. It's going to be blended. Does she want blended? Does she want bold? If she wants bold, let's go back all the way. It's just a matter of knowing if this, then that. Create the scenarios in your head. And that way you can move quick. So I'll do a combination of 4 or 5 different techniques or placement strategies. But I've also done this for like 30 years too. And so I just know out the gate, if I do this, that's how it's going to look. And I could solve the problem that she needs to be solved with the placement of my foils. And I also had a really good teacher, Alexis Gonzalez, I think her name is, in hair school. She wasn't a hair school teacher. She was a girl in hair school who she was like 28, I think. She's a little older than me. I went into hair school right after high school. And she's like, hey, Nick, do you want to help me do my hair? I was like, yeah, what can I do? Right. Cute little Spanish girl. She was from Newark, I think. And she was just super funny. Right. I was so young. She was older. So like she was doing hair already for 10 years, just had no license. And then she was like, hey, I'll show you how to do my highlights. I did a full head of highlights and low lights and a single process between her foils during lunch. And she was like, and she just guided me through it little by little. And it came out awesome. And so I was like 3 weeks in hair school and I did her hair. And then by the time I was like, before I was even on the senior floor, I was working at a salon. They had a stylist call out. And then the owner was like, hey, Nick, do you want to take their clients today? I was like, sure. No idea what I was doing. Like I was always good at highlights though. And then there was a guy, Ariel, there and a guy named Steven. And I would watch him foil and I would pick up tips and tricks here. And he showed me some shortcuts. And then like I started taking pieces from every person and I created my own system. But here's what I didn't have. I didn't have TikTok. I didn't have Instagram. So what are you pretending not to know that you already know? Like you have access to all these people that are all over the world that are on YouTube, on TikTok, on everything. And then take a look at what they're doing. Don't obviously overcomplicate things, but like you have access to so much information. Take a look at how they did it. Take a look at the end result. Be like, oh, I remember that Carly Zanoni from Blonde Chronicles did this in a video. Let me try that on this side. And that's what you start doing. And after a couple of years of doing that, you have all the skills you need. But don't be afraid to do models. Don't be afraid to ask every person you know in your phone, hey, I want to try this on you. Hey, I want to try this on you. I like doing it on live models. Mannequins are one thing. If you want to get the reps in, go ahead. But I don't like working on a mannequin. I think it's annoying. So if I were you, I would just ask every single person to do their hair. Personally, if you're young and you're asking me and you have friends that go to college still, I would go visit my friend in college and I would go to each one of the sororities that they belong to. And I would spend the next couple months while everyone's in school, just going from sorority to sorority to sorority, doing everyone's hair for free. They pay for the color. And I would capture that on content. I would capture that on TikTok. I would have them share it on their social media. So at the end of this year, you have so many reps in that you are proficient in almost everything. And you have so much exposure online from everyone sharing your content that when you come back in the salon again, you're a superstar. God damn, it's a good idea. James, what do you think of that idea?
I think it's a fantastic idea.
Jesus.
We should go to sororities and do it ourselves.
They don't want me in sororities, trust me.
Well,
I'm too old.
I think it'd be a great time.
Yeah. All right.
Film it all.
One last question.
Okay.
You got more?
We had a couple.
All right, fire through.
Well, Honey Blonde Hair, she responded by saying, unfortunately, I would say it's intimidating seeing an inspo photo and not knowing how to achieve it, but you're right, it's all in the consultation. I started doing hair by doing men's hairs.
Nice.
So for the first 10 years, I did men, and now almost 5, I've been doing girls' hair.
Get to the question.
No, that's what she was saying.
All right. So getting to the inspo photo, it's important that you guys understand how to achieve that look. And don't overcomplicate it. What is for whatever reason, hairstyles have a great way of making things more complex in your mind. And I'm going to go back to what I said. You watch all these different people and you're like, oh, this technique, that technique, that technique. I'm going to tease the light here. I'm going to do this here. I'm going to foil here. I'm going to tip out here. What's the most simple way to get from point A to point B? Like, this is something everyone struggles with that I just worked for me. Like, I always had a clear pathway of getting from where she is now to where that inspo picture is. And what is the inspo picture? Like, what is she looking at in that picture? That's the most important thing. You get a client in your chair. I'm like, hey, Bree, here's your inspo. What are you looking at in this picture? Like, what part of this hair do you like the most? I like how it's like blended at the root. What do you think of the blonde around the face? Is that too blonde for you? Do you want more blonde than that? Oh, yeah, it's too light for me. I just like how that blend is. And I try and figure out what about that inspo picture does she really like? And so I know the blend's the most important part. Maybe not as blonde, so maybe not like a money piece or too bright around the face. So what I do is I take away things that I need to be doing. So what do I need to do in order to make this hair that she has now look pretty close to that? And to be honest with you, half the time when people come in, it's not that much work. It's like 3 foils in the front, 2 baby lights up here, like 2, I mean like 4 or 5 kind of coming down the head, and then reblending it down with a root melt. And so she has a little brightness up here. I took her foils back up to where they were 4 months ago because she loved them the way they were 4 months ago. And she just likes the way it's blended in that picture. And so you do this whole friggin' project on somebody when you never had to. And then your client's pissed she's in there for 3 hours and she spent $500 on her hair when you didn't have to charge her $500. You really could have charged her for a face frame highlight and maybe a couple extra bucks for the extra foils and then a gloss. Like, it was simple. So what needs to be true to get to that picture? 3 highlights in the front, 4 or 5 around her crown of her head, and then a root melt, and then you tone her. Don't go crazy. What's the simplest way that I can achieve this look on this person? That's what you have to ask yourself. Next question.
How to break your people-pleasing habits when you deal with takers.
Oh, wow. Fuck, you guys are coming with some heat today.
Some good questions.
Holy shit. Oh, man. Yeah, don't let them take. Give and set. I hate the word boundaries. Have some kind of non-negotiable. Let them know. Like, have a clear set non-negotiable that you don't bend. I'm trying to, like, it's hard. I'm a giver too. It's like people take. You just don't let them. Like, hey, Nance, that's not going to work. Yeah, Friday can't work. Oh, when you can't squeeze me in. If I've always squeezed you in. Trust me, I would love to squeeze you in. I just can't do it that day. How does Thursday work for you? And to be honest with you, and this is going to be like a rude awakening or whatever the word is I'm thinking of right now. This is going to be an awakening for some of you. The assumption that they're a taker could be in your head. Because a lot of times we communicate through text or DMs, and you're getting a misread on the tone. And so it's like, hey, can you do Friday? Can you do this time? Instead of you having the conversation in that manner, being, oh, they're always asking, you're giving them the opportunity to ask. Instead, be like, hey, I got these 4 times at work. Which one of these work best for you? You know, it's also creating a system that you put in place where that's the only way they book appointments. It could be through a booking app. So create something to stop them from being a taker, because you want to provide an excellent service and be there for them, be convenient for them. But a lot of times you could be misreading the conversation if it's in a text or a DM, and it could be coming off that way and not really meaning to. And so just have your criteria and have an idea of what saying no means for you. Because saying no to your client means saying yes to your kid that's at home waiting for you. And so have something that's more important to say no to that client for. But if you have nothing more important to say no to that client for, then make the money and do their hair. James, that was a good question.
What if you're in your early 30s and you don't have friends in college? How do you go about growing clientele at that age?
You got kids? Are there mom groups you can belong to? And just because you don't go to college doesn't mean you can't do it. But I would do women at 30 years old typically are starting to become married, have kids. There's mom groups you can do. You could do something like that.
She said yes, she has kids.
The moms groups on Facebook are hands down one of the best places to recruit clients from. Hands down. 100%. So get involved with those groups, get involved with the communities. Here's another really cool one too. Guess what? You're in your 30s, you're a professional. Find find LinkedIn, find some people on LinkedIn, find some kind of a woman-owned company that only hires women. Like there's all tons of companies out there like that. Infiltrate that company on LinkedIn, talk to somebody who's like an influencer in that company and start doing events for that company where you're doing everybody's hair. Don't just live on Instagram.
We still got a lot of people in here, but there's no more questions.
Yeah, that's cool because I'm going to jump off because we have a one-on-one call coming up with my community. Guys, if you're interested in other ways to grow and scale your salon business, typically independent stylist, you own a suite, you own a salon, you're looking to build a team, or you're looking to really maximize your growth, do me a favor, shoot me a DM me the word grow. We'll get into a conversation, see if I'm a good fit. I actually have a link. You could watch exactly a video on how my program breaks down. But you guys should be making a ton of money. You should be super successful. You should not be wondering where your clients are. You have to have a fully optimized Google business page. You have to be posting content on the daily. You have to be solving problems and frustrations for your clients with your content. Right? Make sure it's entertaining, but also make sure that they're learning something from your content. And you will position yourself as an authority on Instagram or TikTok or YouTube, so you build trust. There's a method to this. I don't just talk shit. I built the business. I behind the chair, I grew very fast because I didn't know what I was doing, so I had to learn skills in marketing. And it wasn't that hard once I put the pieces of the puzzle together and I saw everything laid out in front of me. So it's important that if you do work with somebody or you take advice from a person who's done it before. So there's a ton of coaches out there who actually don't own hair salons, and it boggles my mind that they could teach you about the strategies to grow a hair salon. Yes, the strategies and the theory might be effective, but the application and the dirt, like the day-to-day activities, you got the clouds and you got the dirt. You're not going to have any idea of how to deal with that. And so it's important that you're taking advice from people who actually do the thing every single day. So with that said, thanks for watching, everybody. I appreciate the questions. We will be popping on a more tomorrow at 12, hopefully. Like I said before last week, I got a couple different coaching calls throughout the week. But if you are not on YouTube, follow me on YouTube. The content is typically like podcast style that I have on my Instagram page, but I got some fun shit coming out in the next couple weeks. So stay tuned and enjoy. All right, everyone. I'll see you later.